discuss this further, I'm joined in the studio by former Turkish ambassador to France, Uluc Ozulker, and Hakan Akbas. She's a senior advisor for the Albright Stonebridge Group. Thank you so much for being here. Let's begin with you, Ambassador. You spent a lot of time in France and in Brussels. What do you make of the current Turkey-EU relationship?
It's a difficult one in reality, because when the Turkish president went to meet with Macron in France, obviously we witnessed that there are many difficulties, remaining difficulties in this field. If I make a very short judgment in this respect, I think that they met and it was a friendly one, and on a bilateral basis everything went quite good. There was nothing to say. But when I look to the figures that I have before me, in reality, we have a potential actually in the economic field. From 2002 to 2017 or 16, France has invested in Turkey 6.5 billion worth of investment, direct investment in Turkey.
Far less in Germany, but that's...
yes, but it's number 5 in Turkey, if I'm not wrong, in investment field. For example, when you consider the United States, it's only $3 billion altogether, whereas during the period during which the AKP is in power in Turkey, the French investments went up to 6.5 billion. It's not a bad figure. It's good.
So what's the big hang-up? Why is Turkey going cold on Europe as a whole, and vice versa?
I think that has to do more with what EU is going through these days in terms of its own challenges. If you begin with refugee crisis, if you begin with the military aggression from Russia, not to mention what's going on with Brexit. And also, politically speaking, we've had a number of elections, which I think destabilize each and every country in terms of the political or the populist movements have really moved to the center. That has inevitably created a vacuum in the leadership. And as such, that President Erdogan's visit to see Macron, I think, may open at least a new level of dialogue with EU. I wouldn't go as far as saying that Turkey would become an accession country again, but I think that everybody seems to have accepted the de facto frozen sort of state of relationships. But as Ambassador has rightfully pointed out, I think the trade and investment ties have been so persistent and so critical for both sides. Over 50% of the trade and 2/3 of the investments from EU to Turkey, I think remains indispensable for Turkey going forward.
Well, that's one thing, and the ambassador rightly pointed out the economic relationship is a silver lining of sorts, but there have been some dark clouds, including with the EU-Turkey migrant deal, which was reached in March 2016. That went south. Then after the failed coup of last year in July, a lot of tensions there as well on both sides, with Turkey making accusations against the Europeans. And then in March of last year with a referendum and rallies that were banned leading up to the referendum in April of that year in Europe. And then the referendum itself creating a lot of controversy as well.
I cannot say that when I look behind and try to see what happened in history with France, it's a sinusoidal cycle, if you wish. It's ups and downs, and it goes this way. But otherwise, bilaterally speaking, both countries need each other. For example, we have bought from France this time as well the Airbus planes, and plus the new missile systems or anti-missile systems.
I think I want to pick it up from the security perspective, and I think that Turkey will stay as an anchor within NATO, unlike some of the speculation about what Turkey may or may not do. The EU will become even more critically dependent on Turkey being the next door and an anchor NATO ally, especially in the vacuum that Trump is creating, both as a fear and a pushback to EU, but also maybe it's sort of not so strong commitment to NATO's future as the lead sort of partner.
So, Ambassador, has Trump then been able to bring the Europeans and the Turks closer together?
I wouldn't say so, because normally, as I said, Trump has withdrawn from the Paris Agreement, and now he's returning back to that agreement again. I think that establishment in the United States is winning again, is taking over the situation.
And does Turkey want to be a part of this?
Oh yes, 100%. Because Turkey is not American. Turkey is European in the end. And if in a European institution Turkey does not have its place as such, then it's risky. It's a problematic
Hakan,
case.
is Turkey European, or is it a part of the East?
Turkey, given where it is located, I think it needs to play its card strategically with both US and EU. I think going forward, though, I'm cautiously optimistic about what EU and Turkey will do because of the circumstances. I think Trump's effect from the perspective of TTIP being dead and also pushing is sort of, I don't want to say decommitting from EU, but I think putting sort of more distance. And also Brexit, I think Turkey unfortunately lost two natural allies in terms of supporting its bid for full-time membership. But having said that, even these events, as Ambassador was saying, is bringing the remaining EU countries together.
Ambassador, thank you so much. Hakan Akbas.
Thank
it was
you.
a pleasure.